Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Uh, so today we are going to learn about learning strategies. Yeah. So first of all, research into the language learning strategies, or the LLS, began in the 1960s, particularly when the developments in cognitive psychology gave influence to the studies of on LLS. In most of the research, according to this one, yeah, Rubin and Wenden 1987, the primary concern has been on identifying what good language learners report they do to learn a second or foreign language, or in some cases are observed doing while learning a second or foreign language. Such studies aimed at investigating the feasibility of helping students become more effective language learners by teaching them some of the LLS that descriptive studies have identified as the characteristics of the good language learner. Okay, so what are language learning strategies, and are learning strategies and learning styles the same? So, learning language strategy is simply refers to an individual's approach to complete a task. According to Schumacher and Dessler, 1992, this is an individual's way of organizing and using a particular set of skills in order to learn content or accomplish other tasks more effectively and efficiently in school as well as in non-academic settings. Okay, and then a given strategy is neither good nor bad. It is neutral. A strategy is useful for learner if it suits well with the learner's tasks, fits with the learner's learning style, and links it with another relevant strategy. Under these conditions, according to Oxford 2002, the strategies will make learning easier, faster, more enjoyable, more self-directed, more effective, and more transferable to new situations. Skilled teachers, therefore, can teach learners how to learn, making them aware of LLS and able to use them to enhance their own learning. Okay, and then there are different ways of classifying LLS. However, most of the attempts to classify LLS reflect more or less the same categorizations. Rubin, 1975, is the pioneer of the work in the field of strategies. She makes the distinction between strategies which give direct contribution to learning and those which contribute indirectly to learning. And Rubin's concept was followed by Wong Fillmore, 1976, Taron, 1977, Naiman, 1978, Bellistock, 1979, Cohen and Apek, 1981, Wenden, 1982, Shamot and O'Malley, 1987, Politzer and McGrorty, 1985, Conti and Colsodi, 1997. Okay, and then the LLS taxonomy. Number one is from Rubin, yeah, Rubin's taxonomy. According to Rubin, there are three types of LLS used by learners that contribute directly or indirectly to language learning, namely learning strategies, communication strategies, and social strategies. First one, language learning strategies are those which have direct contribution to the development of the language system constructed by the learner. Secondly, communication strategies are less directly related to the language learning, since their focus is on the process of participating in a conversation and getting meaning across or clarifying the speaker's message. The last one is the social strategies, refer to the activities learners engage in which afford them opportunities to be exposed to and practice their knowledge. The second taxonomy is from O'Malley, O'Malley's taxonomy. O'Malley 1985 divided LLS into three main subcategories, namely metacognitive strategies, cognitive strategies, and socio-affective strategies. The first one is metacognitive strategy. It refers to a term used in information processing theory to indicate an executive function. There is the strategies which involve planning for learning, thinking about learning process as it is taking place, monitoring of one's production or comprehension, and evaluating learning after an activity is completed. Second, the cognitive strategies are more limited to specific learning tasks, and they involve more direct manipulation of the learning material itself. Repetition, resourcing, translation, grouping, note-taking, deduction, recombination, imagery, auditory representation, keyword contextualization, elaboration, transfer, inferencing are among the most important cognitive strategies. Last one, the socio-affective strategies have to do with social mediating activities and interacting with others. Cooperation and question for clarification are the main socio-strategy effective strategies. The next taxonomy is from Stern, the Stern's taxonomy. According to Stern 1992, there are five main LLS, namely management and planning strategies, cognitive strategies, communicative experiential strategies, interpersonal strategies, and affective strategies. First, the management and planning strategies. Are related with the learner's intention to direct his own learning. The second, cognitive strategies are steps or operations used in learning that require direct analysis, transformation, or synthesis of learning materials. The third, communicative experiential strategies may include circumlocution, gesturing, paraphrase, or asking for repetition and explaining techniques used by learners so as to keep a conversation going. Number four, effective strategies refer to strategies used by learners to gather their own feeling when dealing with the complexity of language learning. It is evident that good language learners employ distinct effective strategies. And the last one, interpersonal strategies refer to strategies used by learners to monitor their own development and evaluate their own performance. Learners should contact with native speakers and cooperate with them. Learners must become acquainted with the target culture. The next is the Oxford's taxonomy. The most comprehensive LLS classification is developed by Oxford. Her taxonomy is both comprehensive and practical. She classifies strategies into two strategy orientations, the direct and the indirect. The direct LLS involves the identification, retention, storage, or retrieval of words, phrases, and other elements of the target language. This is classified into memory, cognitive, and linguistic deficiency compensation strategy. The indirect, the indirect LLS concern the management of the learning, which includes some activities such as needs assessments, activities planning and monitoring, and outcome evaluations. The indirect strategy is classified into metacognitive, affective, and social strategy. Investigating language learning strategies. Learning strategies are mostly observable, though some may be associated with an observable behavior. For example, a learner could use selective attention, the unobservable, to focus on the main ideas while listening to a newscast, and then could decide to take notes, observable, in order to remember the information. In almost all learning contexts, the only way to find out whether students are using learning strategies while engaged in a language task is by asking them relevant questions or verbal report. There are several research tools, which can be used to collect data of learners' learning strategies. Researchers can ask language learners to describe their learning processes and strategies through several techniques such as this one. Retrospective interviews, simulated recall interviews, questionnaires, written diaries and journals, and think aloud protocols concurrent with a learning tasks. Number one, the retrospective interviews, learners are asked to describe what they were thinking or doing during a recently completed learning task. Number two, a simulated recall interview is more likely to accurately reveal students' actual learning strategies during a task because the student is videotaped while performing the task. And the interviewer then plays back the videotape, pausing as necessary and asking the student to describe his or her thoughts at the specific moment during learning task. Number three, the questionnaires is the most effective method which is frequently used to identify learners' LLS. Number four, diaries and journals have also been used to collect information about learners' LLS. In these, learners write personal observations about their own learning experiences and the way in which they have attempted to solve language problems. And the last one, number five, the Think Aloud individual interview is the tool in which the learners are given a learning task and asked to describe their thoughts while working on it. The interviewer may prompt with open-ended questions such as, "What are you thinking right now? Why did you stop and start over?" Results of the Think Aloud interviews are analyzed for evidence of learning strategies. So in conclusion, all language learners use LLS in the learning process, but not all language learners are successful in learning the target language. Since LLS are proved to have significant correlation with language proficiency and good language learners commonly have various learning strategies, it is reasonable to support the idea that all language learners should be trained in using and developing the LLS to become successful learners. Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.